Um, Today we're going to talk about a topic that's super apropos for the times in general, and the times right now, because today is Rosh Chodesh Menachem Av. It's the first day of the Hebrew month of Av, literally, which means father, and refers to the high level of divine wisdom. But it also is, we've entered the period known as the 9 days, which are between this day, the first day of the month of Av, actually Menachem Av. It's custom to call it the comforting of the month that comforts. But between the first day, which is now, and the ninth day, Tisha B'Av, is famous or infamous. It was the date of the destruction of both temples that stood about a kilometer and a half to my left on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and really the archetypal energy of exile. But it also says that on the 9th of Mashiach, the Redeemer is born. And that is the foundation for what I want to say today. In these times, in these 9 days, in the times in general, which is that there's so much turbulence. Obviously, I don't have to elaborate on that. So much challenge, so much fear, so much upset, so much everything. And then, of course, obviously, we all are having or many of us are having individual challenges as well at this time. So the first thing I want to bring out here is that the purpose for creation, Authentic Kabbalah explains that the purpose of creation is to transform darkness into light. The purpose of creation is to transform darkness into light, so that the world, our physical world, which is the world of separateness and illusion and vulnerability and evil and exploitation and loneliness and all of that stuff, that it will become a dwelling place for the divine. This is the whole purpose for creation. So it's not an if, it's a how and it's a when. And the answer to when is anytime. We're in the era, we're in the time. It's consciousness dependent, the final bits, and how that we have a lot of influence over at this point. But it will be a dira b'tachtonim, a dwelling place for God in the lowest world, also for your soul, for the divinity within you. The whole picture is going to change in the most radical way, like waking up from a nightmare, but a nightmare in which you did a lot of good and you created the incredible platform, universe, palace into which you're going to awaken. So to turn to create the dwelling place for the divine in the lowest worlds, so that the light, the infinite divine light that shines above in purely divine realms, will shine equally down here below and illuminate everything and everyone. That is the purpose for creation. So in order to turn darkness into light, obviously there has to be such a thing as darkness, and that we experience in abundance. So I want to also talk about a manifestation of that, which the Torah, Kabbalah, I don't know actually what the source is, but it's called in Hebrew cholat ahava, love sickness. So what is love sickness? We all know that when we pine for someone, we miss someone, that could be love sickness. But the soul, your soul is in love with its creator. It's in love with God. And that's actually the reason why your soul is in the body, why it's in your body right now. And since the world is being recreated at every instant, now and now and now and now and now, it's the reason why your soul, out of love for God, comes back into the body at every single instant, every nano instant, if that's such a term. And that is in order to connect to God in a way that it never could if it were not inside of your body. But it's a hard road. I don't have to tell you that. And one of the things that happens when the soul comes in to the body is that it gets a kind of amnesia. So it doesn't really remember why it comes down in the in-between nano moments when it's inhabiting your body. So within the personality, we don't see this back and forth. That's something that the soul experiences on its deep level, on its level of desire and will. But our human experience is within our personality, within our revealed consciousness, and we don't remember. And the part of the soul that's animating us and is kind of caught within us, becoming the personality and the life force, doesn't remember where it came from or why. Only at the deeper levels. So we pop into this world over and over again with a kind of amnesia that makes it really difficult. And because of the traumas that we all experience in every lifetime collectively, people that we love, this lifetime, all these things that happen to us that seem to get in the way of the mission. The soul comes down like innocent and joyful and ready to go, and then it meets life. And first of all, it comes into a body where it's a helpless baby, and it experiences whatever babies experience, hunger, thirst, like wanting the trauma of birth, whatever it is. And these collective traumas close off that joyful, innocent, exuberant expression of the soul. And therefore, the soul, which is coming down only to do the purpose of transforming darkness into light, which in other words means revealing divinity and divine purpose in everything. So the soul gets discouraged. And at some point, the soul can get a condition that's called love sickness. The truth is that I suspect that we all have this to a certain degree anyway, because when I check in, like I was trained in energy healing, I do it on an amateur basis a lot, meaning I don't do it professionally, but I've been doing it for a long time. When I check in on people, sometimes including myself, sometimes I'll check in to see what percentage of the person is choosing life and what percentage isn't. It's rare to have someone choosing life at 50%. Sometimes people are choosing life at 20% or 10% or 2%. And people can go for a while on that, sometimes 0%. But when the soul decides that it's not worth it, that it can't get through, because of the traumas, because of the darkness, that it can't get through and connect to God and reveal God, so it gets this condition called cholat ahava, called love sickness, where it wants to return to its source. And when that happens, there will inevitably over time be a response in the body of either a physical dysfunction or an emotional dysfunction, or whatever sort of dysfunction it has. And over time that erodes the life force as well, making it harder to accomplish the purpose, and the cycle can continue. So the transformational energy of this time, the transformational potential of this time is specifically darkness to light. Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of Av, the anniversary of the destruction of the temples and so many other horrific and painful, tragic events that happened to the Jewish people, and I'm sure to other people also. The inner core, that's the outer level of the energy of that day. The inner core is messianic. It's redemptive. It's Mashiach. So these 9 days are a 9-day process, a 9-day journey, and I invite you to see it that way, into transforming love sickness. Transforming it into what? Into purpose, power, choosing life, joy, effectiveness, connection, and more. So it's very, very, very important, first of all, to have that larger frame, hi Harrison, that I keep talking about, which is the frame that all darkness is on behalf of a deeper light. All concealment is on behalf of a deeper, more profound, more miraculous revelation. So without that frame, it can be pretty bumpy around here. Having the frame is the core of what we call faith, or in terms of Kabbalah, emunah, having that frame to know that that the universe is friendly, the creator, however you conceive of that, infinite divine consciousness that's bringing everything into being and is the core of everything, has your back, loves you, even when things seem difficult, because there's a purpose, there's a mission. It's not an easy mission. Just like giving birth. You can align with it. It can be, pretty cool. It can be pretty miraculous, but growing a baby for 9 months and then having it come out of a rather small, small chamber is not, you can't say that it's just like, as easy as falling off a log. It's not. So, but when we have the larger frame and we understand that every single trauma, every single obstacle, every single thing that seems to be in our way within that larger frame is part of our mission, has God within it. Each specific thing that is going on in our lives has God within it. The darkness much, much more than the light. Yisron ha'or haba min choshech, Kabbalah explains that the light, the greatest light, is within the darkness. Actually, the deepest darkness is light. It's light that's so profound that we don't have the vessels, we don't have the receptors, a big enough light bulb to receive it. So we want to expand our light bulb. So first the bigger frame, then we want to grow our light bulb. We want to understand what's going on. We want to practice to see the universe, to see everything is in our favor on behalf of our mission. Now, I'm not saying that anyone should stay stuck in darkness. What I'm putting on the table, I'm going to try to make this not too much longer, but I want to make one or two more points. What I'm putting on the table is that the more you can align with this process, especially now in this time when everything is accelerating, the more the darkness will turn to light, the more the challenge will resolve miraculously, the more you will perceive your ability to co-create for real. That's number one. And the last point, I think, that I'd like to make is that we're taught in the Torah that the temples were destroyed, especially the second temple, which was destroyed by the Romans, and catapulted the Jewish people who were all living in Israel at the time, catapulted us into an almost 2,000-year exile. We're not quite at 2,000 yet, but we're getting close. And I don't have to tell anybody what it's been like collectively and individually in this. And this exile also is out projected into the human experience everywhere. So what's up is to complete that exile. The exile was for a deep purpose, which I will not go into right now. It's not the topic here. But we're taught that the second temple was destroyed primarily because of something that's called sinas chinam or sinat chinam, which is baseless hatred. What is baseless hatred of our fellow? It's basically, you could say that if you have the experience, which I think we all have had, unless you're an angel from heaven, that somebody else's success makes you feel less than, that somebody's happiness, if you're not happy, makes you feel less than, that you could be like, that you could hate or resent someone because they have something that you don't have. They make you feel insecure by their very being. That's the core nature of what's called sinas chinam, baseless hatred. And it comes from a deep misunderstanding of our nature, of who we really are and what we are to each other. Because in fact, the truth about us, one of the many deep truths that is concealed by the nature of this game of darkness into light, of exile into redemption, is that we are not actually only single individuals. We each have our own, like a cell in the body, unique and absolutely essential purpose and contribution. We each have a prism in which God shines through, but none of us are here on our own. And Kabbalah explains that when we are, at the deep core, the core of our heart, at the deep core of the essence of who we are all one. We're all connected to the same source. And like pieces of the puzzle, every piece is essential. If you've ever tried to put together a 5,000 piece puzzle and you're missing one piece, the whole thing's garbage. Same with us. But at the same time, so knowing yourself and showing yourself, in a real way, in a profound way, that's part of the process. That's that self-refinement and self-awareness and self-awakening. But then, connecting to the next piece and the pieces all around you, and to see the picture on the box and know that you're part of that greater mission. So what is the tikkun? What is the refuah? What is the healing for this baseless hatred that caused exile? It's the core cause of exile, because it's the core misunderstanding that causes every issue that comes between people and between a person and themselves, and of course between us and the Creator. So what's the solution? What's the healing? It is unconditional love. Now, unconditional love doesn't mean you endorse or accept or allow everything anyone might do. But unconditional love is where you allow your heart to open and to feel someone else, and to make someone else's happiness your happiness, someone else's success your success, as if we were all partners in the same enterprise. So if you're partners, imagine someone, your best friend or your spouse or your family, when your child does really well, or when your spouse gets a special check of $100,000 or $10,000, whatever, you're excited because it's also yours, your partner's. That's in a very simple lens. That is the path forward to start to see that we're partners in a bigger enterprise. And then it's not that we have to force ourselves from our small, sad place to feel good for somebody else, or to care about someone else's challenges, or to try to help. I'm not suggesting anyone be totally overwhelmed or throw themselves off a cliff. That's not the point. The point is, what is our relationship to each other within the frame? And that is the healing for the core exile, for the soul sickness, for the darkness, for the traumas. Now, some of these traumas, and this is the last point I want to make, and this I'll give the update on my own situation now also, with my daughter's healing, Chai Mushka. So there's deep healing required on many levels. Obviously, it's super traumatic, and yeah, there's deep healing required, and there's deep healing required for all of us. Why? Because we all have love sickness on one level or another, and we need to heal those scars. We need to find a way. We need to speak to our soul and each other's soul and find the way to really choose life. And how can we do that? We can do that. The soul chooses life when it knows that it's succeeding in its mission. That might not always look like, you made the sale, or you got the job, or you have the relationship, or you're in the best state of health right now. Hopefully for everybody, all that will manifest very, very soon if it's not already. But to know that the trauma, the challenge, the flaw is part of the mission, to learn how to lean into it and to transmute that darkness to light, that gives the soul power and connection. And I don't even want to say hope, I want to say excitement, enthusiasm, pleasure. And the way to do that sometimes, especially now in these challenges, when sometimes life seems like too much for you, or it seems like too much for me, we've got to connect to each other. And here's where I want to, I've been doing this in the beginning, I want to do this now. For whoever's on at the moment, and for whoever listens after the fact, I want to thank everybody again for all of the people that I see are saying psalms on a daily basis even. And even if it's on a one-time basis, thank you from the bottom of my heart. People who are giving tzedakah, charity, on behalf of my family and my daughter's healing. People who are sending love and light. People who are praying at the grave sites of holy souls. And whatever it is that, people who are reaching out, to help, to communicate with us and support us and her. It's unbelievable. And it's opening up my heart to understand what a difference this makes and what the possibility is, and that it's not an accident, that this is all happening during this period of mourning of the temples, which has innately at its core the redemption. So I just want to invite everybody, know that everything that you experience is your purpose. It's not in the way of your purpose. It can be painful. Hopefully it won't be. But if it's painful, let it wake you up and move you. Let it move you. Let everything move you. That's what it's here for, only to move you. Ask for help when you need it. Share yourself authentically. Let yourself be seen. Be grateful for what happens if you can, even if you have to pretend. Thank you, thank you, my toe that hurts. Thank you to my, friend who didn't notice me. Thank you to that. Also, there are deep reasons why that will make a transformational difference for you. So if we can connect to one another, even if we can up it, let's say we're at 1%, let's say, maybe we're at 99%, but if we can up it 1%, that 1% of opening the heart, that 1% of loving ourselves, that 1% of unconditional, unconditional love for someone else, whatever form it takes, then that may well be enough, because we're so close. That may well be enough to create the final transformations. Certainly it will help all of us to choose life. Certainly it will help us collectively to transform these final bits of challenge and darkness that are part of the wake up and shake up that we're all going through now. So that's my prayer, hope, and I guess encouragement today for everybody. Oh, I said I was going to give an update. So lots of healing is needed for all of us, of the core scars and traumas that we all carry. That includes all of us. That certainly includes my daughter and every one of us. If someone is suffering, count on it that there's love sickness involved. So I want to just ask for deep prayers for that we should all, including her, including me, including all of us, love ourselves, love our lives, and know that there's a point, and that we can succeed in our purpose, that we can embrace all parts of ourselves, and we can get help and give help, connect more deeply to each other, to ourselves, and to our Creator. And on the physical side, she's in a lot of pain. Like, it's hard for her to talk because her whole inside of her mouth is blistered. Not only her mouth, it's like this thing that I never heard of that happened, is super intense. And she needs a lot of support and for the healing to continue on all levels. But I do want to say that even the hospital staff at this point, as of yesterday, they're like, we don't understand why she's healing so, why she didn't have this go wrong and that go wrong like other people do. You know, it's a deadly illness. It's a dreadful, deadly illness. And yet they're like, whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it. Like one of my kids said that one of my kids told the staff in the hospital that their mother, that I'm, you know, praying and people are praying, and they said to her, don't let her stop, make sure she keeps doing it. So I just want to let you know that's, you know, I hate being an archetype or a center for the challenge, but if the healing, you know, if we can together create miraculous outcomes and learn and co-create a field that will have its own gravity, a morphic field of miracles, of transformation of darkness to light. Let's all work on that together for everyone. And thank you again. Okay, that said, maybe a transformational 9 days. Really, truly brilliant light. And may we all be assisted in choosing life and having life in the most abundant and eternal and physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, every possible way. That's what's up for us. We just got to bring it in. Okay, lots of love, everybody. Bye.